Hi everyone, in this video I want to show you a game between Levon Aronian and Vladimir Kramnik. The game was played in a Canada's tournament from 2018 round 3. Let's see the game. Levon started with e4, which is a surprise because he's usually playing c4 or d4 on the first move. Black replied with e5, knight to f3 attacking the pawn, knight to c6 defending, and bishop to b5. We have the Spanish opening of the Lopez. Most play move for black in this position is a6, attacking the bishop, but black opts for knight to f6, the Berlin defense. d3, protecting e4 pawn and allowing the darker bishop to enter the game. Bishop to c5, developing a piece, and in this position white decided to give up his bishop pair and took on c6, inflicting double pawns. We can notice that taking with the d-pawn, black light square bishop can be developed. Usually, releasing piece tension is not good, unless it gives you a concrete advantage. In this case, white inflicted double pawns for black, but in the same time helped black to develop his bishop. White continue with short castle, his king is safe, and instead of this move, white cannot take on e5. This is a big blunder because black responds with queen to d4, threatening mate in this position. So mate is threatened and the knight. So in the game, short castle was played, and now white threatens to take the pawn, and black defended the pawn with queen to e7. Most played move beside queen to e7 is knight to d7, but I don't like this move because it's blocking the light square bishop. Next, white should continue his development of his pieces or prevent opponent development. White can put his darker bishop to g5 or e3, and the most play move in this position is knight b to d2. A good preventing move for white would be to play h3, prevent black to bring his bishop on the most forward square to g4, pinning the knight. But we have an exception here. This h3 move is good only if black castles. In the game, Aronian played h3. In this position, Kramnik played a novelty, rook to g8. This idea is usually used in the Italian opening if white castles and plays h3. As we know, in an opening, we need to develop our pieces, make castle and connect the rooks by moving the queen. With this move, black breaks opening rules and he wants to push g5, g4 and open the g file for his rook. Usually we should start an attack after the opening, not before. So this is a mistake. And here white should continue his development and open the center, catching black king in the center of the board. There is a rule in chess saying that when your opponent attacks you on a flank, you should open the center. A possible continuation for white would be to play knight vd2, and after g5 we have d4 opening the center, it takes on d4, e5 attacking the knight, knight to d5, knight to e4 attacking the bishop, g4 trying to open the g file, bishop to g5 attacking the queen, queen to f8, knight takes on d4, g takes on h3, g3 not allowing black to open the g file, h6 attacking the bishop, knight to f6 check, knight takes on f6, bishop takes on f6. For example, black can play bishop to g4, developing and attacking the queen, queen to d3, and we can see that black king is in the middle of the board. In this position, white is not losing. So the conclusion is that when your opponent starts an attack too early, you shouldn't get scared. You should continue your development and open files and diagonals for your pieces to catch opponent king in the middle of the board. In the game, white played king to h1. Black continued with knight to h5. First of all, the knight is unprotected. He's controlling f4 and g3 squares. Also, this move allows the queen to control d8, h4 diagonal, and in this moment g5 is possible. White continued with c3. He wants to open the center with d4, g5, and in this position white took on e5, using the fact that the knight from h5 is unprotected and the queen attacks it. Better for white was to play d4. So we have knight takes on e5, g4, trying to open the g file, d4 attacking the bishop, bishop to d6. Black threatens to take the knight, and after the pawn recaptures, wins a pawn, and also is threatening to take on h3. That's why in the game he played g3, black took on e5, d takes on e5, queen takes on e5, and in this position white needs to relieve some of the pressure that black is putting, and he tried to exchange queens. If he tries to bring the knight into the game, he's losing. Well, let's see that possible line with knight to d2, and here black has a good attacking move, and he can take on g3. After f takes on g3, we have queen takes on g3, queen to e2, trying to defend along the second rank, g takes on h3, queen to h2, trying to exchange queens, queen to g2 check, queen takes, h takes on g2 check, king to g1 check, king takes on f1, bishop to h3 check, king to f2, long castle, and black is winning. He has a pass pawn on the h file, and he's an exchange up. So in the game, white played queen to d4, trying to exchange queens. And of course, black doesn't want this. Exchanging queens would be bad for him. h4, blocking for the moment the king side, but there are some sacrifices on g3 in some lines. Black continues his attack with c5, attacking the queen, queen to c4. The drawback of this move is that black can win a tempo on the queen, and he developed his light square bishop to e6, queen to b5 check, c6, blocking the check, queen to a4. The drawback of this move is that the queen is stuck on the queen side. Her only purpose here is to prevent black from castling long, and if black does that, she would take a7 pawn. Also, this move is not preventing black to move f5. Black wants to open the king as soon as possible and mate him. So after queen to a4, black continue with f5. He wants to push f4. White cannot take this pawn because he's mated. Let's see that line. So if we have e takes on a5, knight takes on g3 check, f takes on g3. If, for example, white doesn't take on g3 and plays king to h2, we would have queen takes on h4, king to g2, queen to h3 check, king to g1, and queen to h1 mate. So white is forced to take on g3, and we have bishop to d5 check, king to g1, queen to e1, and white cannot stop the mate on g2. The only way to block this is to give the queen temporarily, but it's mate anyway. So taking on f5 is not good. In the game, white played bishop to g5, developing a piece, but the drawback of this move is that black can take, and after white recapture, the h file is opened. Also, black can push f4 anyways. So in the game we had rook takes on g5, h takes on g5, f4. In this position, white brought his queen back to d1. The problem with this move is that black can attack it again with the rook, winning a tempo. For example, instead of queen to d1, if white takes on f4, we would have knight takes on f4, queen to d1, queen takes on g5, king to g1, g3, queen to f3, g2 check, rook to d1, queen to h4. Mate is unstoppable. White has to give up the queen and take on g2. So in the game, queen to d1 was played, rook to d8, attacking the queen again, queen to c1, and black took on g3. Black is very close to mate white king. White continue with knight to a3, and black can go forward with his rook to d3, rook to d1, trying to exchange rooks. Black here played a very interesting move. He put his bishop to d5, and white cannot take this piece because after queen to e4 check, king to g1, g takes on f2 check, king takes on f2, rook to g3, rook to g1 attacking the rook, rook to f3 check, king to g2, queen to e2, king to h1, and rook to h3. So in the game he played f3, but this doesn't help because black can take on g3, white took the bishop, and this move allows the queen to go forward on the second rank, and white cannot stop mate. White tried rook to e1, pinning the queen, but black has a check with the pawn on g2, and after this move white resigned. White has two choices here, to play king to g1 or king to h2. Let's see both lines. After king to g1, black can give another check with the pawn, king takes on g2 and f takes on e1, getting new queen and mate. As we can see, white king is cut off by the queens and the rook. And the other option with king to h2, g1 queen and check, king takes on g1, f2 check, king to h1, rook to h3 check, king to g2, f1, queen, and we have a double check and it's mate. Let's draw some conclusion from this game. 1. If your opponent doesn't follow opening principles and start an attack too early, you need to continue your development, open the position and catch the king in the middle of the board. In this game, white didn't do this and got punished very quickly. 2. If your opponent attacks you on a flank, you should open the center. So these are the rules that you should remember. So this was the game between Levon Aronian and Vladimir Kramnik. I hope you found this video useful. Please watch other games from my channel and leave some comments and suggestions in the comment section. See you next time. Bye.